What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a shout out to a couple of subscribers for showing love. Much respect to the man, the myth, the legend, the brother Robert Mason, showing love with multiple donations via the PayPal. Much respect to you for showing love to Too Raw for TV. I also want to give a shout out to the brother Brandon Bellamy for the $10 donation via the PayPal. Much respect to you for showing love to Too Raw for TV. He leaves a note saying free speech. Yeah, that's something that's been taken away from us largely, man, in this country. I guess you want to call it privileges we once had are systematically being removed from us. Uh, we can't speak our minds anymore because of the thought police that's just running roughshod across, our country, man. When it comes to forums, when it comes to, uh, you know, even in our own daily lives, we can't really express how we truly feel. I'm not saying we got to go around being assholes and insulting people, but the thought police is really something true, man. Also, Tony, I didn't see the second part of your video request. I'm gonna get to the topic at hand. Um, as far as what Kobe winning 6 rings, yeah, I think that probably would have nullified to a great degree the LeBron versus MJ GOAT debate. Tim Duncan, um, if things went differently, and let's say Tim Duncan won in 2013 and he has 6, then it kind of hurts LeBron's argument because then he would only have 3 titles. He'd be 3-7 in the NBA Finals, and Tim Duncan would be what, 6-0. So yeah, Tim Duncan will be elevated. There's a better argument for Tim Duncan being top 5. LeBron will be relegated more to top 10. Kobe will probably be considered a consensus top 5 at the very least. That's how I look at that. Now, let's get to this. So, a lot of people are ticked off, man, Trump supporters, because a Pennsylvania TV station showed a system test of the graphic that will be displayed on election night as far as the votes in the state of Pennsylvania when Harris and Trump finally go at each other, and we'll see who wins that state, and thereby possibly having that state being a huge factor into who wins the election. So you see this popped up, I think this was Sunday, and it shows with 100% of precincts reporting, Kamala Harris with 52% of the vote with 3,293,712 votes. Trump, 47%, 2,997,793. So a lot of people feel like, aha, so this is proof that this is rigged. They're rigging the system. Look, first of all, I think that's bull. Although I know people are going to believe that this is ammo to reinforce their perception that they're trying to steal the election. Look, I'll put it like this. Are there isolated incidences that are going to occur? Yeah, on both sides. I definitely believe that. But the Democrats are indeed trying to rig the election in their favor. They've tried to remove Jill Stein and Dr. Cornel West off the ballots, especially in swing states. And that's because they know that virtually all of the voters who are going to vote for those candidates will be hemorrhaging votes. Basically, what I'm trying to say is people who will vote for those candidates may have, or maybe if they weren't on the ballot, may have just held their noses and voted for Kamala Harris as lesser two evils. Although that's a flawed thought process because a lot of people who are going to vote for Jill Stein and Dr. Cornel West, may not even vote anyway. But having said that, the Supreme Court just ruled against RFK Jr. being taken off the ballot, and I think in Michigan and Wisconsin, because the rule of thought is now RFK Jr. is going to hurt Trump more than Kamala, whereas before the thought process when it was Biden was that he would hurt Biden more than Trump. So that's an example of both sides playing this game. You know what I'm saying? Then, of course, we had the supposed Russian collusion in the 2016 election. So I'm just trying to be fair. You know what I'm saying? Both sides involve themselves in this chicanery, right? Now, with this, one of the bigger reasons why I know this isn't real is because the vote tally is too low. Look, in 2020, Joe Biden got something around, if I remember correctly, 3,458,000 votes. Trump got 3,377,000 votes. That was 4 years ago. There's no way in hell, with population growth, with the attention that Pennsylvania is getting in this election, there's no way in hell the total vote's going to go down that much. I wouldn't be surprised if the winner of Pennsylvania, whoever wins it, gets something around approaching 4 million votes. Maybe a little bit less than that, but at least 3,600,000, something like that. The vote's going to go up. It's going to go up. States that feel like they are citizens who are in states that are getting a lot of attention, states that voters feel as though they, whether it's Republicans, Democrats, they are the last line defense, so to speak, as far as who's going to win this election. They feel like their vote is extra important. There's no way in hell vote total is going to go down. So, yeah, I do think this is a test. They do this. It's just that usually this type of shit doesn't show up on screens on air. But they do testing like this. And I know because I know a little bit about what they do in broadcasting. They conduct these tests to make sure the graphics work, make sure things are working appropriately, make sure the numerations show up proper. I think it just messed up with this. But I know people aren't going to buy that. Oh, man, you being a sheep too, Raw. This is just it, you know. I mean, if you want to believe that, fine. If you want to believe that, fine. But I do think this was a mistake. You know. Now, having said that, you could also argue, well, why did they have Harris up? Well, it could just be this particular run had Harris up by 5. Look, if Harris wins by 5 in Pennsylvania, then she's going to win in a landslide. There's no way in the hell polls would be that off if she wins by 5. If she wins by 5 in Pennsylvania, then I'm talking about real life. If she wins by 5, I'll tell you what. To those of you who think this is real, if she wins Pennsylvania by 5, right? Then maybe you might have something there, right? Because then essentially what we're saying is it doesn't matter who votes. They're not going to count them. They're just going to tabulate what they believe, you know, or what they want to put up there. And that's not the case, in my opinion. Yeah, I think both parties, election officials, rogue individuals, they do cheat around the margins. But it's so much more difficult to cheat now, in my opinion. It's just more difficult to make meaningful, augmentations or augmenting the vote. It's very difficult to do that shit now. You know what I'm saying? Without it being obvious that they're trying to do something. You know what I'm saying? I have read reports of people saying that, you know, they choose one candidate and when they walk away or whatever, or when they finish, they notice that it switched to another candidate. That could be a computer error. Could it be something more sinister? I don't know. But I know when you work with computers, shit happens. It happens. Um, Look, I also know that when you work with computers or you do anything electronically, it is subject to malfunctions and or hacking. So this is a real thing, but at the end of the day, I tend to believe that 99% of voting is pretty much on the up and up. But with an election this close, yeah, shenanigans could decide the election. Hey, look at 1960, and we didn't have computerized tabulations or input. It was pretty much done by hand back then. So you know what I'm saying. Uh, that's just my take on it, man. I think this was a system test that was that unfortunately was put on air, and the system glitched up and broadcast this. So this is definitely going to feed people who think that this election is going to be rigged regardless. But anyway, tell me what you guys think.